up into Croke Park, and Leinster are champions again. 4 years of hurt, of pent-up frustration, aggression, released in a burst of such high quality, what we've come to expect, what Dublin demands from its rugby side. The province celebrates again. A 4-year drought is too long for Leinster, but silverware will sparkle in Leinster once again. And the damage was done in the opening 22 minutes. They hit the Bulls hard and fast. 3 tries gave them a 19-0 lead. There was no way back from there. The Bulls were blitzed. Leinster's quality shone through from start to finish. And the full-time score in the grand final, Leinster 32, Vodacom Bulls 7. Well, and gentlemen, if truth be told, we expected something more competitive, but from what Leinster put on display once again, it seems like there aren't many that could have matched them this afternoon.
No, I agree, Rory. Their kicking game was class. Defensively, they were amazing. So physical. You look at the carries that Leinster had. They had 102 carries to the Bulls 106. They made 420 metres with those carries. Bulls made 194. They made double the amount of metres for about the same amount of carries, and that was the difference. The Bulls could not get on the front foot because they were just matched against the blue blitz. You've got to be fit, Stevie. You've got to be fit. You've got to get back off the line. You've got to come off the line really fast. You've got to be aggressive, and it just looked like their mindset was spot on today.
Yeah, it definitely was. They were the best team from minute 1 to minute 80 today, but they've been the best team all season, as you said, Rory. Thoroughly deserved it. The question marks were, could they get over the line in knockout games? The Northampton game in the Champions Cup threw a spanner into the works. Everybody started questioning them again, but they played really well against Glasgow last week, and they've turned up again this week, unbeaten. That's 5 out of 5 here at Croke Park. A unique experience, a rugby trophy now going to be lifted for the first time in a Gaelic stadium.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We will await the trophy presentation when Leinster will get their hands on silverware.
Ryan, massive congratulations. You are today's URC BKT Player of the Match, and I'll get Marco Santin of BKT to give you a medal. Massive congratulations, Ryan. What an occasion, what a day. How are you feeling?
Quite surreal, you know. It's been a long time coming to win a trophy with this team in front of a full stadium. Last time we did it was during COVID, so thank you, everybody. Amazing. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing a lot of people forget was you won a trophy here and there was no one in the stadium, but it's special to win it, but to win it at home.
Yeah, last year was tough. Going away and losing to these boys, they're a great outfit. But to, you know, have it on our patch here, and when that whistle went, I just took a moment, looked around, and well, I appreciated it, so let's go.
And was the pressure tough this week particularly? I mean, with everything that's gone before and what people say in the press, it is tough to take, but you seem to rally together and work for each other out there today.
Yeah, I found it toughest this week. I felt the pressure. I think a lot of us did, but we kept coming back to we got to win moment by moment, inch by inch. And every time, you know, I saw someone else make a tackle, it gave me energy to go make one myself. So you know, I'm so proud to be able to shake everyone's hand here and look them in the eyes and know we did it.
Well, listen, I'll let you get back and shake those hands. Well done today. Massive congratulations.
So Ryan Baird, the player of the match, as he was in the semi-final against Glasgow last week. We knew that Leinster were hungry and they were desperate, John, and that trophy drought had gone on long enough for these faithful fans. I don't think any of us expected it was going to be that emphatic here today.
No, I think we expected, it's the final, it's the top two teams in the league, we expected it to be close, but Leinster have been the standard bearers in this league, it seems, for years, come the end of the regular season, and they were this year as well. So, yeah, they outclassed the Bulls today. I'm trying to think of an area of the game where the Bulls bettered them, and there wasn't one, really. If you look at scrum, kicking game, defence, the physicality across the board, they were superb. And it's really refreshing to hear Ryan Baird talk about with honesty there about they were nervous. They understand the magnitude, they understood the pressure, but they seem to embrace it. It does feel a little bit like, to me, like the wait for Rory McIlroy to get over that line. And now you wonder what's next for the Leinster team, because not many of this team are leaving. There's a couple of big superstars leaving. Obviously, Barrett will go back, but the bones of this team, the foundations of this team are there to be stronger and stronger.
And it was refreshing, wasn't it, to hear that honesty from Ryan Baird, because, you know, often there's a siege mentality and the players say we don't read the press, we don't bother with the pressure, it doesn't affect us, the outside noise is kept outside, but clearly it does seep in, and he acknowledged it there.
Yeah, it was great to hear him acknowledge it, and being nervous and being anxious, that brings out the best in you. And, you know, full credit to the Bulls. This is a genuine rivalry between Leinster and the Bulls. The reason it's a rivalry is because the Bulls have beaten Leinster in the last 2 knockout games that they've met. Leinster haven't quite had that rivalry with the other sides in this competition. You look at the Irish Shield or the Interpros, Leinster doing a clean sweep there. They knew that they were going up against a really high quality side today, and they needed to be at their best to win. That allowed them to focus their mind and bring out their best game.
It certainly did it, and it was almost 2 psychological hurdles they had to overcome, Simon. Not just winning a trophy, but beating the Bulls in a knockout game in the URC, because as Ian says, they've been their nemesis for the last couple of seasons.
They have indeed. Yeah, for the last number of years they've struggled, and the physicality, the kicking game, all those things where the Bulls have put pressure on Leinster, they were able to flip it on its head here today. And speaking to Schalk, Britt's up there watching the game, he was just saying it was like Jacques Nienaber's fingerprints all over it. Where the Bulls are strong, that's where we're going to go after them. They went after him a maul, they went after him a scrum time. Kicking contest, Leinster were by far the better side. So yeah, it is ballsy performance, but credit to them. A lot of credit has to go to Leinster. They got over the line and they performed really well.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. They didn't give the Bulls any access into the game. You know, even if we go back to the first half, there was no ruck speed in any of the Bulls' attack, because Leinster were contesting the breakdown so ferociously. They were allowed to then get their defence set, get off the line and put the Bulls under pressure. So it was nearly turning their strengths into weaknesses. Even the scrum, I thought Thomas Clarkson was excellent throughout the game in holding up that tight head side for Leinster in what was a perceived strength for the Bulls.
And there is almost a delicious irony to that from a Leinster perspective. Jacques Nienaber, a South African, a World Cup winning South African who's worked with so many of these players, effectively shutting them out. You know, we saw, John, didn't we, the tail end of the regular season, the Bulls were scoring tries for fun. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tries in their last 2 games on the high veld. They scored 1 today.
Yeah, and no one will know these South African players on the Bulls side better than Jacques Nienaber. And Mads is right. I think you look at, and we spoke about it at the start of the game, you know, where are the Bulls strong? And the guys are right, they went after them, and the biggest area where you think the Bulls might have had an edge was going to be up front, it was going to be on the gain line, it was going to be in the physicality stakes. And there was passage of play, in particular I think back to that passage at the end of the first half, and they would just march back. It wasn't one carry, every single carry there was energy, there was enthusiasm, and it was relentless. So it's great to have a plan, but often those plans can go out the window. So their ability to stick to tasks, to stay in the moments, like Ryan Baird said, to win each moment, to win each physical battle was brilliant.
And tactics is one thing. Tactics and game plan, that's one thing. That goes out the window. The work rate that the Leinster players showed for each other, turning up on D for each other, yeah, it was just incredible to watch. And yeah, Jacques has done a really good job with that side.
Yeah, his defence system, like you think of the big defensive performance that Leinster have pulled off this season, you know, no points against Quins, no points conceded with Glasgow. I think it was 7 points today. Look, granted, there's going to be games where you're going to get it wrong. The Northampton game, the system didn't quite work. Maybe the players didn't execute it as well. He'll know that to get Leinster to the next level, there still are work-ons. When to go really hard off the line, when to go, look, they've got quick ball, maybe now's the time to cut our cloth, stay connected, and then we'll get them on the next phase. And I saw that today, and the conditions played into that system, because it made it really difficult for the Bulls to go around that Leinster defence. And that's the only way you can really unlock it.
Yep. We'll talk about those work-ons a bit later, but let's celebrate the moment for now. We talk about energy and enthusiasm. There's probably no one more energetic, more enthusiastic on this Leinster side than Jack Conan. He led by example today, and we can hear from him now.
Jack, massive congratulations. What What's the overriding feeling now? Is it relief? What is it?
Yeah, definitely a bit of relief. It'll be a long time coming to actually win something, so just delighted for everyone who's put in an incredible amount of work, not just the last few months, the last few years, and to be able to get the send-off to Church, to Ross, to Limo, to Robbo, to Geordie, for everything they've done in their time in Leinster. We wanted to make it a special day, and it was one of those moments before we ran out. You know, you look each other in the eye and his new lads are ready, and I'm glad we showed up and performed and silenced a few critics, which is nice.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a siege mentality with you guys, but you could see it on the pitch there, Jack. You were chasing everything, you were fighting for everything, and that intensity in the first half, like, you must have been buzzing at half time.
Probably more tired, but yeah, definitely happy. Yeah, I think holding them out there at half time, I don't know how many phases it was. It felt like a lot, but it probably wasn't as many as that. But to just the mental kind of lift that gives you when you're able to hold them out, and they're just going at the line so hard is huge. So credit to the lads for putting their head where you wouldn't put a shovel. So.
One more thing, you obviously mentioned a few of the lads here, but you win the game here in the final, but throughout the season, the squad that was used, the players that were used, it's so important, that squad that you have here, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. It's obviously an ever-changing squad throughout the season. November internationals, Six Nations, the lads got into South Africa, everything like that. So, you know, I don't want to say how many lads we use off the top of my head, 48, 50, I don't know what it is, but it's everyone that pitches in, and we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for the strength and depth that we have in Leinster Rugby.
Well, listen, well done, and on a personal note, best of luck for the summer. We're looking after you. Right?
Yep, congratulations to Jack Conan, congratulations to Leinster and indeed Leo Cullen, and he can share a joke and a smile with Jake White at the end of that ferocious 80 minutes. As you can probably see, the trophy presentation is about to begin, so we can rejoin our commentary team. Over to you, Rory.
Well, thank you very much, Ross. As Ruan Norkia goes up to receive their runners-up medals for the Vodacom Bulls. We've just seen the officials make their way up. Andrea Piardi, Mike Adamson, Sam Grove-White and Matteo Liparini for their involvement in the final. But this is a path that the Bulls know all too well. A third defeat, the first in Cape Town in the inaugural URC season, then last season on their own patch in Pretoria against the Glasgow Warriors. This, as it proved to be, the hardest of the three, and for Jake White, unable to add a URC title to his legendary collection of medals. It also comes off the back of a Rainbow Cup final defeat in Treviso. Not a feeling that they wanted, that he wanted to experience again. Fourth final defeat in 5 years. And gentlemen, how would you sum up their season? I think people gave them more of a chance maybe than what they put out there today. Will they come with regrets?
Yeah, quite possibly. I think we know the whole chats before the game about the weather conditions, Rory, and how it was maybe going to play into the Bulls' hands, and they've got this firepower. They're also missing a couple of players. I think they hugely missed Hanekom today to give them that go forward. He's been exceptional all season long, and you know, Marcel Coetzee is usually wearing the 6 jersey, and even Elric Lowe as well in the back row. But no excuses. Jake White won't have any excuses, you know, even with the travel and everything coming over here. But they just come up against a better team on the day, and this Leinster side are really an outfit to be reckoned with.
Look, if Hanekom was fit, you'd take him 100% in your team, but I just think tactically they got it all wrong. I think they really tried to outmuscle Leinster. There wasn't enough variety in their attack. Thought the back three were quite poor. They got an incredible back three. All they did was kick the ball and chase it. I think they fell into the trap of trying to take Leinster on, trying to beat them up, trying to out-dominate them. And when they couldn't do that, when they were getting knocked back, there was absolutely nothing there. There's no variety in their attack, no variety in their line-out. I think, you know, put Hanekom in that scene, it wouldn't have made any difference whatsoever, because that Leinster team was just on it today.
Well, each individual going up, a huge cheer raised for Ryan Baird as the players go up, being met by members of the Vodacom Bulls, an incredible rugby team for children and young adults with additional needs. Proudly part of the rugby club since 2016. They'll be presenting the winner's medal, which is wonderful to see.
Shot there. Look, I think he played well today. Missed the kick at goal, but some of his kicks out of defence was good. The pass, kick, run options, I thought were good from Prendergast. I think he needed a big game. Talked about losing Jameson Gibson Park and the fact that could have. Well, look, I thought Prendergast did a really decent job in managing that.
How good's that man there been?
He's been brilliant. Short-term contract. They'd love to keep him longer, but he's got it all. You know, he's good in the air. He can kick for goal. Not that you need to do that. He doesn't kick for them, but he's physical. His pass selection is really good. You saw it a couple of times today, just winging the ball out wide. There's a reason why he's an All Black. There's a reason why he demands the fee that he has. It's because he's a quality player, a world-class player.
Well, it's the dominance that we expected from Leinster, but they haven't delivered in the last 4 years when it really matters. But today it was so impressive, and throughout the season they do set that standard at the very highest level. This year it's their year at last as they continue the formidable drive for excellence. And when you see them at this level, you just wonder if there's anything that can compete with them.
It's unbelievable, Rory, that some of the foreign players that they bring in almost get a louder cheer than their own, because they get themselves into the local communities. They love being a part of this Leinster side, and they give absolutely everything for the jersey.
Well, and I think that's the key with them, isn't it? That if you're going to bring in a foreign player, make sure there's something special, and the three that they have here are some level.
Oh, there's some level, and every week they turn it on. It's good to see them staying fit as well. We all were looking at Munster when they signed R.G. Snyman because of the qualities that he has, but unfortunately he just couldn't keep fit. But Leinster have played him quite a lot this season. He's been the standout player in the league.
Well, maybe the loudest cheer there reserved for Ross Byrne, who heads for Gloucester. But that might be eclipsed because Jack Conan heads up. The final medal to be handed to the captain. Who will now wait. Leinster for the first time to get their hands on this. The URC trophy. Leinster's name to be carved into the trophy. A new name etched in history on Northern Hemisphere soil for the first time. European pain becomes URC elation. Leinster are the 2025 BKT URC champions. Dublin doused in blue. Leinster blue, and they've done it on hallowed turf. Trophyless no more. The 4-year wait is over. Relief amongst celebrations. Redemption delivered. Revenge delivered for those semi-finals gone by. And silverware returns to Dublin. And that bottler's tag that has been thrown around has been ripped up by the Leinster 23 that were so dominant against the Bulls. 9 times winners, but for the first time since South Africa sent their bruising quartet, and they've beaten them all. And it's wonderful to see those Clontarf Bulls getting in on the celebrations. Croke Park proves to be Dublin's fortress, Leinster's fortress, and this place, it's special, it's spiritual, and what a setting it's been for today's events.
Yeah, that was a lovely picture there, Big Joe McCarthy. That was his little brother there with additional needs, and you can see him just behind the lads celebrating. He goes to every single game, every single Irish game. That's brilliant to have him involved in the celebrations. It means the world to him.
Well, let's head back down pitch side because they're close to getting in amongst the celebrations themselves. Here's Ross.
Yes, thank you very much, Rory. We've just been covered in, what are these? What would you call these, John? Ribbons? There you go.
Streamers, I'd say.
Streamers. Take some credit for it, John.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before, weren't we, about whether this means as much to Leinster as the Champions Cup, the coveted Champions Cup. I think we can see from that reaction, this means everything to them, Simon.
Yeah, I think so, and it's been a long time coming, as they were saying, that this is their first trophy now in 4 or 5 years, so yeah, it's a taste of success. I think they'll take great confidence in beating the Bulls, teams that have taken them out of tournaments along the way. Getting that mental edge back, and yeah, it'll do wonders for their confidence now going into Europe again next year and URC.
And as a proud Irishman, you're as delighted as everyone here, I'd imagine, Simon.
I am, yeah, over the moon, as you can see. Oh, here we go.
And how's that for timing?
I was going to give him a left hook into the head.
Through gritted teeth, Simon Zebo is congratulating Leinster. I think, well, we might have Jack Conan coming in. Jack.
Well done, Simon. Well done. Great performance.
Congratulations, Jack. We were just saying how much that clearly means to you, the delight etched on everyone's face as you raised that trophy skyward. It's been a really long season, as it always is, a grueling season. How much of a relief it is to finish with a trophy?
Yeah, look, it's hugely important, and more than anything else, it's about giving the lads a send-off they deserve. Cian Healy, who's given his entire career to the club and has been, you know, one of the greatest servants of Irish rugby and the greatest servant in Leinster rugby of all time. And for Ross and even Geordie and Limo and Robbo, who are all parting ways with us, they've all given so much to the club over the last few years, and we wanted to make sure that we did right by those lads and performed. And I said to the lads before we went out, I was like, I don't care if we win by 1 point or we win by 30 points. I was like, let's just go out and perform. We're going to take it moment by moment. We're going to throw a hell of a lot of punches, and let's see if they can live with it. And I'm just delighted for the lads. I thought everyone stood up today and performed really well, and yeah, it's brilliant. Like, what a special place to be. Croke Park, 46,000 people. To give them something to cheer about after the last 2 weeks and disappointed of Europe and everyone else, it feels right. So,
well, you say you would have taken a 1 point win. You'd definitely taken a 32-7 win. Finals are often cagey. They nip and tuck and they go down to the wire. Take us onto the field, Jack. Did that feel 40, 50 minutes in like it was pretty much in the bag?
I suppose at half-time we said, look, they're going to get a wrap across the knuckles here and they'll come out better. And I think we started the first 10-minute second half really well, and then we conceded that try, and you're thinking, right, a little bit cagey now. We need to get back in the ascendancy, win moments, build moments on moments, and I thought we did that really well. Obviously, probably some of our decision-making around the points and the corner, again, needs a bit of work on, but at least it didn't cost us today, so that's all right. But no, look, I'm just delighted for everyone. Everyone's had a lot of stuff to say about us the last few months, and it's nice to quieten the silence a few people, a few critics. But look,
he just said he was delighted.
Yeah, he is.
I'm
delighted
for you.
Thanks, cheers, mate.
Jack, obviously it was great to give the lads a send-off, give the supporters a trophy, but how much do you think winning here is going to lay the foundations for what's to come next season for Leinster?
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's a bit of getting a bit of a monkey off your back. Like, do you know what I mean? Just kind of, right now we haven't gone 4 or 5 years without winning something, and we're top of the pack again, and everyone's going to chase us and want to be better, and we know that we're going to have to be better ourselves. So it's just about enjoying it now.
Yeah, winning's a habit. You're back in the groove.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know,
make sure you do
it's the
enjoy it
times to live for. So
well done.
Thanks for coming over. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Enjoy the celebration with your teammates.
Well
Ryan Wilson is roaming somewhere. Where are you, Ryan? Where are you?
Of course, I'm down here with the celebrations with Big Joe McCarthy. Yeah. Outstanding. How good does it feel to finally get your hands on that trophy after 4 years?
It feels so bloody good. It feels like our group, our staff, they've been way too good the last few years not to have a trophy. So just feels so good to get over the line. Lads are buzzed. It's so good.
And what's the feeling like? Because we heard from Baird before. He was saying that there was almost a nervousness and the pressure really was on this week. Did you feel the same?
Yeah, Charles, I was so nervous all week because it means so much to us. So, yeah, all week I was worried, but thank God sometimes you play your best rugby when you're nervous like that. So, we had a great performance. The lads are buzzed.
Well, mate, good luck for the summer. I'll let you go and join the celebrations as we go and find a few more. We'll go and grab a couple of youngsters. Here's one of the youngsters.
I wish I was young.
How did you go, mate? You enjoy that one?
Yeah.
It's not a bad feeling, and what a place to do it, Croke Park.
Incredible, yeah. Stuff of dreams. Like, actually, you don't even dream of playing here when you're a kid playing rugby. You play GAA here, but special.
Are you a GAA man?
Played for Crokes when I was younger, but yeah, rugby took over a little bit later on.
And we were just chatting about the pressure. Here, we'll move as we go. The pressure that you guys are under, but honestly, the way that you guys have done it throughout the season, the pressure's been on, there's been ups and downs, everyone's doubted you. Was there ever any doubt inside the group?
No, I think we know what we're capable of. Maybe it was a little bit flat after the Northampton game, but we got that buzz back. Last week put in a great performance, and this week forwards were awesome. They dominated the game.
Well, I'll leave you two go and get these celebrations. We're going to watch this man because everyone wants to hear from him. Hold on, I'll tell you what, let's get James Lowe as he's here. Lowy.
I'm not paid enough.
Hey, mate, you've been here for a little time. One of the boys that's come over. There's a few big names in this squad, but none bigger that have put in so much effort from you, mate. Like, how does it feel to finally get it over the line?
Yeah, it's good. I think a few of the boys were surprised they played so often at the end of the season, getting on. The old age is catching up, but look, the boys have put in some shift throughout the year. I think we've used over 50 players, and it comes down to it. I mean, you see Jamo, unfortunately, had to drop out. A few other niggles, obviously Hugo going into knockouts. You know, the back three probably wasn't the starting back three you would have thought of at the start of the season. The boys have done outstanding. So for people like Church, you see him running around with his kids. We talked about why we want to win this, and it's for people like him. People have given his whole career to this club, to this country, and to be able to do it's outstanding.
Mate, that is so awesome to hear. Yeah. Like, talk to me as well, because there's a lot of Lions in the group, right? So does that add pressure as well because of the amount of Lions that got picked? You're one of them. You'll be heading over to Australia in the summer. Did that add a bit of pressure?
Pressure's a privilege, man. I know it's pretty cliche, but as soon as we all got picked, we sat down as a group and we said, I won't say exactly what we said, but we're like, look, we've still got a job to do. You don't want to be one of those guys who saves themselves just for a Lions tour. You want it to keep on playing. Make sure we go into this Lions tour with on the front foot, and I think we've done that. We played well for these last 3 knockout games, and it's outstanding.
Well, Lowy, listen, I'll let you get off with a little one.
Hey.
How good's that? That's not a bad little one to have.
Hey, good boy.
I'll send you off. Congratulations, man. All the best with the tour. Geordie boy, come here. We'll move. We'll keep moving. Hey, not a bad 6 months, that.
Not too bad.
I know you would have wanted to add a Champions Cup to it as well. I know that was the plan, but to come over 6 months and add a URC trophy to the list, not bad feeling.
Yeah, it's so good, and we tried to use a bit of that motivation from Europe as well, and sometimes if you try and bite off a bit too much and almost like try and win the double, and don't win the competition that's in front of your face, it can be extra disappointing. So that's going to mean a lot for this group going forward. Taste some winning, and who knows, going to set us up.
And what's next? Are you going to come back over this way anytime soon?
I'd love to. Who knows, maybe in a few years' time, but look, I'm going to savour this experience. It's been amazing on and off the field, so I'm really grateful for it.
Last question, have you enjoyed the rugby more or the golf?
That's a sticky question. Over here, but look, that's the cherry on top today. It's been unbelievable.
Well, enjoy a few scoops tonight, mate. Go and celebrate with the boys, because I'm going to throw this one over to the boys with a bit of hurling.
It's only a matter of time before he drags him onto the golf course. From an All Black to a Springbok, it's Haji Snyman. Congratulations, thanks for coming over. We were thinking earlier, are you the only guy to have won this trophy now with 2 separate teams? You're a history maker.
I don't know.
A pioneer. If we say it, it's true. And Simon Zebo said it, so
you
it
won
must be
first
true.
for Munster, so well.
Same question we asked to Jack Conan. You know, we thought this was going to be tight, nip and tuck, 2 teams going at each other till the 80th minute. You know a lot of these guys from Springbok camp. Did you have any idea it would be that easy?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I wouldn't really call it easy. I thought we made it work for ourselves that's what we talked about the whole week going into this game. You know, it's the physicality of it, and I thought the guys they fucking fronted up so well in that first half, and so yeah, I wouldn't call it easy. We worked to get there, and we worked for it. So yeah.
I use that word advisedly. Apologise for the language as well. Emotions are riding high. We talked earlier on about your offloading game, your point of difference. I mean, you're clearly a big guy, a giant of a man.
Can we get a stool for Mads here? What's going on here?
Like a child, man.
You enjoy the physicality. That much is obvious. But your role in Leinster is kind of almost a super sub at times, to come on, get beyond the tackle and put other guys into space. Is that part of your game you feel has evolved since you've been here?
Yeah, I think so. I think the most important thing for me is just to, you know, see what I can contribute at different times throughout the game, and just understanding the role, whether it's starting the game or coming off the bench. But yeah, just bringing my point of difference to the game and kind of slotting in, and yeah, just putting guys into gaps and making opportunities as much as I can.
What are the celebrations? What are the celebrations going to look like? Talk to us a bit. How are you going to celebrate tonight? A few pints of Guinness, champagne. Where are we going?
Yes, Zeebs.
I'm coming with you, by the way. Leinster jersey on.
Can he come with you? Will he be welcome?
Yeah. No, I'd love to pull Zeebs into the team room there after the game.
I'd love to see that.
Maybe just for a minute or two. No, we'll celebrate well, Zeebs. I think that it's well earned. It was a tough season and a hard season, and I think it's a lot of hard work that kind of came to a great end for us now in this game. Obviously a bit of a disappointment throughout the season there as well for us, but I think this will put us on a good foot going into next season, and yeah, maybe having a brandy or two tonight.
A brandy or two. Clearly you're elated, your teammates are elated. Is there an element of this victory that's bittersweet because so many of those Bulls guys are your friends and they're clearly dejected right now?
Yeah, no, listen, that'll always be the case. It is tough looking up there, and you know, guys on the other side of the scrum, there's teammates through most of the year, and it's guys I know well, it's good friends. But you know, when you go out there and you hit the field, it's very much us against them. Do you know what I mean? So it's it's a great win, and we'll celebrate it that way.
I'm sure you will. Enjoy that brandy tonight. Congratulations. Bye. See you soon. He is massive.
Yeah.
I think I've got a crick in my neck just staring at him for the last 3 or 4 minutes. It is interesting, isn't it? Because we talked, Ian, about the kind of spy in the camp element. You know, Jacques Nienaber knows these Bulls guys so well, as does R.G. Snyman. They'd have had some valuable intelligence to draw upon before this game.
Yeah, they would. He would have known exactly what the Bulls were going to do today, and I think a lot of the Leinster players would have. You don't need someone coming in and tell you, look, these guys are going to be physical. Yeah. But he would have been clear about not letting them win the moments, to build momentum and get their foothold into the game. And I thought Leinster did that incredibly well in the first half. The first half, the Bulls went in at half-time probably thinking they hadn't even played that badly, but they weren't in the game. And then to have the luxury of him coming off the bench and Rabah Slimani coming off the bench, you know, it's very rare that you sign a player into a team and they add such an extra dimension to your attack. You know, maybe you'll bring in a good ball carrier or someone who's got a really good kicking game, but his offloading game is just off the charts good. I think he'd 43 offloads, more than some total teams had in the season. And to have the luxury of the player of the season coming off the bench just shows you the depth that Leinster have.
And the nitty-gritty, the amount of unseen work he goes through. I know he obviously has a highlight reel that could go on for hours, but...
Like yours.
Like both of ours, brother. But yeah, that's the thing. It's the dark arts he's a master at, and you do not want to be on the bottom of a ruck with him around you. He'll let you know he's there. He'll put all his weight on top of you. He's nasty in the contact zone, offensively and defensively. He's the all-round second row. He's got every string to his bow, and
well, his handshake alone made me wince.
That's it.
I've lost the feeling in my hand.
My head's like a Malteser in his head.
My calves are cramping up because I was actually on my tippy toes.
And you were still 5'5".
But that's the thing, John, isn't it? You know, you look at him and you'd think one thing: dark arts, physicality, brutish strength. You wouldn't think silky skills and offloads, but he's got the whole package.
Yeah, he has, and I think the bit on top of that is just the thing he mentioned there was about, you know, whatever his role was in the team, starting off the bench during the season, during the internationals, whatever it is, he'll do. And I think, if you read enough and listen to enough about what Jacques Nienaber does and Rassie Erasmus does with South Africa, it's a whole squad thing. And it's no coincidence that I think every single person we've spoken to after the game has mentioned there's 50-odd players that did this. And that's a very easy thing to say. People talk, culture for me is one of the cheapest words thrown around. You've got a double World Cup winner, a superstar of the game, arguably one of their best players, URC Player of the Year, and he's happy to come off the bench, and it feels authentic, and that goes a long, long way through a long season.
I think people don't give Leo Cullen and his coaching staff enough credit for using that whole squad, Ian, because we often talk about it from the point of view of, I guess, jealous opposition clubs who say, well, it's a luxury to have resources that deep, to have a squad that deep. But actually, you've got to use it well, haven't you? And the fact that he can send so-called second strings away from home and still win is a testament to the coaching staff.
Yeah, it is a luxury to have such a deep squad. But within the season this year, you know, it was all homegrown players that beat the Sharks away, you know, against a star-studded Sharks team. The starting 15 today, 13 of the 15 are homegrown Leinster players. They've developed this academy. That wasn't always there. You know, when Munster were more dominant, 10, 15 years ago, the Leinster Academy wasn't there. It was the likes of Mick Dawson and Leo Cullen who had the vision to build out that academy, get connected with the school system and the club system, because we're seeing quality club players coming through now as well. And it's the rotation. I actually thought Leo Cullen, the big change from last season in the league to this season, where they only lost 2 games, was his ability to mix in youth with experience. And they did that particularly well.
Talk to us about the Hogan steps, Ian, because we talked about the significance of GAA and hurling here. It's a cathedral of Irish sport. They lifted the trophy down on the pitch, but they've all climbed, 34 steps? To get to
34 steps. There's a lot of history in this stadium. The rubble of the independence on Hill 16. And yeah, this is a very special moment for, I think it's James Ryan, Dan Sheehan, I'm sure Caelan Doris will be up there. And yeah, guys would have watched the Dubs lifting, the Sam Maguire.
Cork lifting Liam McCarthy.
the Kilkenny supporters, Zeeves. It is Leinster up there, let's not forget that. But yeah, look, everyone would have watched either Gaelic football or hurling in the stadium growing up. And, you know, I wouldn't follow the hurling overly closely, but I would come in and watch it because it's such a spectacle. And the crossover, as you were saying, Zeeves, on any top-level sport, you'll get it. And the skill level that we see every weekend throughout the summer with the Gaelic football and the hurling, it's off the charts.
You can always spot a hurler or a Gaelic footballer a mile away when they transfer onto a rugby pitch, can't you? The way they kick the ball, the way they catch the ball. Yeah, there's so many transferable skills. And yeah, Leinster won the kicking battle today, the aerial game. They were just impressive, very impressive. Yeah.
And here they go. I think they are going to lift the trophy from the top of the Hogan steps in front of the fans that have still remained. A lot of fans still hanging around here to milk these scenes, and why wouldn't you? It's been a long time if you're a Leinster fan since they've lifted a trophy, and here is Jack Conan preparing to do it for the second time this evening. He's done it on the pitch with the fireworks and the trailers and the ribbons, and he's about to do it again. Cherish this, lads. The first time since 2021. But more significantly, the first time since 2018 they've done it in front of fans, because those 7th and 8th trophies they won were in fact in empty stadiums because of COVID. We won't go back there. Depressing times. Let's celebrate the moment. Leinster are the URC champions 2025. Loads more analysis to come after this break. Welcome back. The trophy drought is over. After 4 years without one, Leinster have lifted the 2025 URC trophy. They did it on the pitch and atop the Hogan steps here at the iconic Croke Park. The celebrations have begun in earnest, and they will continue into the night here in Dublin. The rain has stopped and the fans can all leave in a state of heightened ecstasy. Leinster are the champions. It's commiserations to the Bulls. They've been to 3 URC finals out of 4 since they joined the competition, and they're still yet to win one. And I suppose, gents, we've celebrated Leinster's victory and we'll do a bit more analysis, but we should take a moment to commiserate the Bulls. 3 finals, John, 3 defeats. That is going to be hard to take.
Yeah, Wazib said they're turning into the new Leinster. Is that what you said off camera? No, I didn't say that.
You were laughing then.
No, I didn't. I would laugh at that. No, look, it's the hardest thing. You almost, ironically, I think you'd almost rather lose in a semi. I think that the pain of dropping at the final hurdle, you know, they've lost at home, they've lost away. And they would have fancied themselves today. Not many people did, but you sense that bristling underdog mentality that come here and we'll do a job and we'll get home. And it didn't quite work today. They were pretty far off it today in terms of the golfing class. So it will hurt. It certainly will. Have they still got the same squad next year? Arguably, yes. They're missing a couple guys today. I think they missed Hannacum. A little bit of softer touches they probably missed today. The weather didn't help, which we thought it would, ironically, as well. But yeah, this will sting.
And Kirtley Aronson too, because you talked beforehand about the fact they play a lot of one-out rugby, a lot of one-dimensional, fairly predictable stuff. And yes, Conan Moody and de Klerk had been on fine form coming into this, but today they could have done with a spark from someone like Kirtley Aronson. Yeah,
they could. It just didn't feel like a game where they could get anything going, and a large part of that is because Leinster was so dominant. They expected, and you could tell by the way they persisted with plan A through the game, was to get over the gain line. And once that opens up, we'll do something. Well, if that doesn't open up, you don't start to open up the wider parts of the game. So, yeah, would have Kirtley Aronson made a difference? Honestly, I don't know. There wasn't a lot of space out there for Bulls players. They couldn't get the game to open up in a way which suits them. They couldn't get large passes to play. They couldn't get over the gain line, get in behind. So, yeah, look, would he have added something? Yes, of course he would. Would it have made a difference to the outcome? I don't know what you boys think.
I don't think
doubt
so either. Just because they struggled to shorten the defensive line. They were those one-out carriers, as we were talking about. It didn't do anything. You know, if they had latches, maybe they could get a bit more gain line. They could shorten up Leinster and then expose them out wide and get the ball into those hands. But they were just looking for crossfield kicks, moments of genius that weren't really on. So they forced it in the end, and that fed into Leinster's hands.
Come on over, Jacques. Jacques Nienaber's here. Victorious Leinster head coach. Congratulations.
How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Very good indeed.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Congrats, my friends.
Thank you very much.
Jacques, so many accolades have come your way for the way this Leinster defence has become a relentless machine. And we talked earlier about how the Bulls, towards the end of the regular season, were scoring tries for fun. It must have been immensely satisfying to see them limited to just the one today.
Yeah, I think I always go credit must go to the players. I thought today they put their bodies on the line, which they did the majority of the part during the season. And I'm a big believer. People say defence wins trophies, but I think attack wins trophies. So it was nice for us to add 19 points on the board, you know, and then you can knuckle down. And I thought that defensive set just before halftime was very important for us going into halftime. Yeah.
Jacks, with the Leinster defence this year, I'm a massive advocate of the rush defence that you've come in and employed. You know, nailing the Harlequins, nailing Glasgow, conceding only 7 points today. Where do you think this Leinster defence, what's the next level that you can go to with it?
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of growth for us. Obviously, with the box, I was there for 6 years, and it layers in every year. Obviously, the players adapt to and Zeeps were part of it at Munster. I started it over there. So every year, your skill set develop your defensive skill set. There's growth in the team, the understanding within the team. So yeah, hopefully there will be growth. Hopefully, yeah. But I think there would be. Normally there is.
Just on today, Jacques, how much of it, and it's almost a stupid question because every game you have a plan to take on the opposition, but it looked like really specifically today you tried to take away the Bulls' strength, which the perceived ones would have been scrum, the gain line, and their kicking strengths.
Yeah, I must say the scrums and the set piece stuff must go to Robin McBride and obviously his leadership group. I mean, obviously that's a big part of the Bulls, and we knew that we had to be, in my opinion, we had to be good there if we wanted to stand a chance in this game. So yeah, a lot of credit, and to be honest, I don't understand scrums. Maybe a little bit of the contesting, but the other stuff was down to them. Yeah.
Obviously, Jack, the forwards defended really, really well against the size that the Bulls were bringing. But I also noticed that the backfield was completely intact. You won the kicking battle, and there was no space for the Bulls to exploit you there. You must have worked on that.
Yeah, I know the Bulls. I think last year a big learning we took out of last year in the semi-final is they kind of got us there a little bit with the kicking game. Willie is tremendous there. Goosen is tremendous there. Ambrose Papier is tremendous there. So obviously a big learning there. And as as hard it is to lose the semi-final. I mean, that's the thing. You take lessons out of it, and hopefully the team will grow and adapt to that. So yeah, it was a big focus for us to make sure that we handle that, because they are really, really good at that. Yeah.
Just obviously it's 1-15 as a defensive performance, and some people have been critical of Sam Prendergast slipping off tackles, but they're not necessarily focusing on the positives. How he leads the Leinster defence. You know, what are the work-ons for him in defence that you've been working with them on?
Listen, he's working incredibly hard, and I thought he was big today. Obviously, the first everybody goes for the 10s. I mean, we all know it. That is the channel they'll target, and I mean, I don't know what I think. Sam is 22. So there's still a lot of physical development that will happen with him. But I thought today he was tremendous. Even last week, I mean, I think sometimes people always see the missed tackles, but you don't see. So he maybe, let's say he missed 3 or 4. That's the focus, but you don't see the 8 he made, you know. So, yeah, for me, I think he's really working hard on it. And from last year to this year, there's been big growth in that, and he will have to continue to work on that, because they're always going to go after him in that channel, and he knows that, you know. And yeah, so something that he has to grow into. Yeah.
And finally, Jacques, we talked a lot during the build-up to this game about the pressure coming down on Leinster to win a trophy. You know, it's been 4 long years, and we heard from Jack Conan and from Ryan Baird about the fact they were anxious and nervous coming into this game. I'm just curious, as a coaching team, how do you go about man-managing that when a game of such enormous magnitude is looming on the horizon?
Listen, I don't know who's more nervous than them or I, you know, or the coaches. No, listen, it is. And I think the one thing for me coming to Leinster that I probably didn't expect is the expectancy pressure. There's massive expectancy pressure on Leinster to perform. And especially if you look at the squad, everybody's got there's a lot of things about the squad, you know, but if you look at this squad, I think we've got 43 senior contracted players, and 37 of them, I think, is probably from the RDS in a vicinity of 50 kilometers. So they're homegrown, developed through, which is something that Leinster is proud of. So yes, we've got a very competitive squad, but there's a lot of credit that has to go to our sub-academy, the academy guys, because it's homegrown guys. And I think that's quite unique. And obviously then, the expectancy pressure. I mean, I've heard it the last couple of weeks. I mean, even there were some pundits that would say, even if we win this trophy, it's not good enough, you know. And we, as a group, talk about it a lot. You know, you're not entitled because you have a good competitive group. You're not entitled to a trophy. It's something that you have to work for. Toulouse is not entitled to a trophy. It's something they have to work for. So that's the key thing for us. I mean, there's no entitledness. There can't be entitledness to a trophy. Doesn't matter how good and how competitive your squad is. You must still deliver and perform on big days, yeah.
Well, look, I think RG Snyman has cracked open the brandy, so you're playing catch-up already. So
I'll enjoy a couple tonight. Cheers, thanks, Larry.
Good man, appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thanks a million for joining us. Enjoy tonight.
Thank you, will do. Oh,
so, hugs all round. Jacques Nienaber, the victorious Leinster head coach, and I think we might be able to hear from Leo Cullen now as well.
Leo, massive congratulations. What's the feelings right now?
No, listen, delighted for everybody. Like, this is obviously the player staff. They put in so much work over the course of the year. And listen, it was a great contest. 2 very strong teams. You know, we've been there, like the Bulls, standing there watching other teams with trophy lifts. So, yeah, listen, it was a lot of reward, really, for so much hard work over the last, not just this season, but in previous seasons as well. So, yeah, no, delighted. I think the players have, you know, they've had to work for it. So, yeah, it's great. And it's amazing, listen, the atmosphere here, I thought was incredible all day. So, what we touched on before the game, you know, to get the privilege to play here in the final is phenomenal. So, yeah, listen, it's just savour the moment now, and it's a great day.
Yeah, I suppose I spoke to Jack earlier on about maybe the siege mentality that we saw in the team, particularly in the first half. They've come out and fought for everything. But was there pressure there in the last few weeks, you know, for you personally and for the team, you know, to get this trophy? And it obviously means that little bit more.
Yeah, like it's in, you know, the players, every time they put on a Leinster shirt, you want to see them represent the team to the best of their ability, you know. And like if you go through the season, like we played 28 competitive games, managed to win 25 of them. So like there's lots of good work that goes to getting you to this point. It's always a challenge, like how do you manage the two competitions at the tail end, particularly when it comes to playoffs and big games, and you have to deal with different disruptions. You know, even this week there was a couple of disruptions within the team, and the same last week. But like, and that's where you rely on the squad, and like you're up against very good teams as well. You know, we talk about the power that the Bulls have. So for our guys, they're fully focused this week, and because they respect the Bulls so much, and it's the quality of the competition that we have in the URCs. So, but yeah, listen, I thought we started the game well. Scored a few good tries early on, but like probably the most pleasing bit was that defensive set, which probably went on for about 10 minutes at the end of the first half. So to keep the Bulls to nil going into half-time was a big lift for the team, I thought. So yeah, listen, we'll look back, reflect as we always do over the course of the season. Yeah, and build again. But listen, for now, it's just enjoy the moment now. Being here it's unbelievably special now. So we feel very lucky, as I said. Wicklow, man, kicking points over gates and fields as a kid. To think you're involved in a team here on a final is amazing.
Well, listen, we'll let you get back to the celebrations. Massive congratulations. Well done. Yeah, it is a broad smile on the face of Leo Cullen, and understandably so. It's been a tough few years being a Leinster fan, but they have the trophy they have so desired tonight. It's going to be a big night in Dublin. We'll see you after this short break. So plenty to look forward to on Premier Sports, but we are just reflecting on what's been an epic victory for Leinster in the URC final. Some of the Leinster fans still hanging around. I think it's just him and us actually left here in Croke Park. It's been a phenomenal afternoon / evening if you're a Leinster fan. After 4 years without a trophy, they've got their hands back on the URC, and it's the 9th time they have won this tournament, making them easily the most successful side in the history of the competition. We've talked a lot about how they did it. Before we move on and talk perhaps about the summer and next season, I just want to come to you, Ian, on Jameson Gibson Park and the fact when we all arrived here today, we were told he's had to pull out, and we wondered whether that might be a really significant omission. Not only did it give Luke McGrath the chance to roll back the years and play a leading role, but then Fintan Gunn, who had no idea he'd be involved, comes off the bench, makes a real impact and scores the try that puts the game firmly to bed. Yeah, it was a great cameo from Fintan, and he's had a really good year with Leinster, but wouldn't have played a whole lot in the final third of the season with obviously the Champions Cup and the knockouts. But I thought he came on and really upped the speed of the game, the quality of his passing, the speed he gets to the breakdown, his ability to get the ball away, and the try that he scored was a real individual effort. Lovely initial play from Ross Byrne to draw in the defenders. I think Geordie Barrett certainly drew a fair bit of attention, and then the delayed pass out the back. But when Fintan got his hands on the ball, he had a huge amount of work left to do. Showed real speed and strength to get over the line. So Leinster then, John, I mean, none of the players or the coaches will be thinking remotely about anything other than tonight and the celebrations they're surely going to enjoy. But we can perhaps cast our minds forward to next season. How different do you think their pre-season will be, their attitude, their mindset coming in to the start of next season now they've finally got that monkey off their backs? Yeah, well, you think that there must be a weight off their shoulders. I mean, I mentioned Rory McIlroy earlier. You almost hope it's like that, although he's not playing particularly well this weekend, so maybe that's not the best analogy to use, but yeah, you'd hope so. You say you've got to enjoy it. I think Leinster over the last couple of years has probably demonstrated, even no matter how good you are, and Jacques Nienaber touched on it there, you're not entitled to win anything. Some of these guys maybe haven't won anything with Leinster, and that, you know, certainly in our days playing up, you would have played and just assumed Leinster would win almost everything. So I think there's definitely an element of just enjoying it, but I think you're right in that they'll come back next year and nobody can say, oh, well, you haven't won anything. And that narrative around them, whether that lifts a bit of weight, whether it galvanizes them, we don't know, but that's the beauty of the off-season, Ross. It certainly is, John. Stevie, Simon has completely abandoned his tribal loyalties and said as a Munster man he was delighted for Leinster to get the monkey off their backs. Presumably, you feel the same as an Ulster man, do you?
Yeah, a little bit. Actually got a few Instagram messages saying, will you hit Simon Zebo a dig in the ribs for me? Oh, from 16-year-old D4 bodyguards.
They're vicious out there.
No,
be careful.
I think it's really good for the competition that Leinster have won it. They've been the best team all season long. Only lost a couple of times in to do it here at Croke Park, a unique place, to come and get a victory, and they thoroughly deserved it. You know, people say the Bulls didn't really turn up, but Leinster didn't let them turn up. Super impressive, more so the scrum. You know, I know Shanks and I talked about it continuously in commentary, but it was so impressive. You know, Andrew Porter was so impressive, 72 minutes on the pitch, and obviously with a big bench to bring off, they got the game closed out. So really impressive by Leinster, and hopefully they can kick on next season.
And speaking of the scrums, Shanks, Jacques Nienaber came into studio and he said Rob McBride deserves all the credit for that. So a bit of Welsh credit can be taken from that Leinster victory.
God, how did you do? How on earth did you do
High
that?
five, Ross.
How did
well
you do
done. You got in there. Yeah, look, Ron McBride is a great coach, and we'd love him to come back to Wales, but what he's done here at Leinster is incredible. You know, Thomas Clarkson, for me, was incredible today because everyone was talking about the Bulls scrum, how big it is. Yet, Porter stayed on for 72 minutes. Thomas Clarkson won the first penalty. That set the tone for the whole of the game. And, you know, they came here, the Bulls, to do a job on them physically. And Leinster just fronted up and really deserved the win. And it just shows you finish top of this league, it is a lot easier to get through and have a final at home.
Yeah, I think that if you're looking at Bulls, you know, getting so close over the last few seasons and losing in the finals, like, what's going to give them the difference to get over the line? They need to have a home final. And maybe next year with the Lions on and Leinster players being away at the start of the season, Leinster mightn't have that buffer. And if you can play over in the Bulls in the final, maybe that's what's going to get them the win.
Well, what a season it has been, gentlemen. It all started way back in September on a cold night in Edinburgh when Leinster took the first step on the road to what is their 9th URC title. It's been 4 years since they lifted this trophy. They are going to celebrate hard tonight, and deservedly so. It's congratulations to Leinster, commiserations to the Bulls. Thanks to you guys for watching. Thanks to you guys for putting up with me all season. Let's do it all again next year, shall we? Have a great summer.